very happy to have in our office studio Deirdre Lennon, who's the Fundraising and Corporate Affairs Manager with Cheshire Ireland.
Good morning.
You're very welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Great to have you here. So you might start by telling us a bit about Cheshire Ireland, when it was founded, and why.
Okay, well, I suppose most people know Cheshire as Cheshire Homes from the UK. So Leonard Cheshire, he was the group captain. He started it back in 1948 because after the war, there wasn't a place to help people who had injuries or people at home to mind them. So he brought somebody home. It was in a place called La Court in Hampshire in England. Okay. So he had one person, and then it became a second person, and then it became a third person where the families couldn't look after them, and then it just grew and grew. So there's over 50 Cheshire Homes around the world. But Cheshire Ireland started then in 1961 here in Ireland, okay, in a place called Ardeen in Shillelagh, County Wicklow. So we were incorporated in 1963. So we actually celebrated 60 years back there in 2023. So we have about 14 locations around the country.
I noticed that.
Yeah, there's quite a lot.
I was shocked by that, actually.
Most people don't know much about Cheshire, which is a shame because we have been around for 60 years. But we do look after individuals in, be it their home or in respite or in community settings, or they can go into residential, whichever suits the individual the best. But 14 locations around the country.
Is it all people with disabilities?
Yes, so people from the ages of 18 up to 65 on date of admission. So you could be 64 and be admitted. So you could have cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's. You could develop a disability, be it by an acquired brain injury, something like that, or where a family can't look after you anymore at home.
And from all walks of life?
All walks of life. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are. It's just we're here to help wherever we can and whatever suits the individual the best. And we have community settings around here. So we have people we look after in Blanchardstown and in Clonsilla, and then we have our big location, which is in the Cara, which is in the Phoenix Park. Right. So that's just in central here to where we are based.
I wondered, when I read all your website, I wondered how it grew from the humble beginnings it started with to what it is now, which is a huge organisation. It
is, yeah. It started off with volunteers. So volunteers did a lot of the work. Right. And then obviously as it grew and it grew, you had to formalise it, you had to put governance into place, you had to make sure that everything was compliant. And we have a board of directors and a board of trustees that we're answerable to. They ensure our governance. And we welcomed, I think we have just over 800 staff. And we look after over 200 individuals in residential and community. And then we would have anywhere between 50 and 70 that would come to us for respite through the years. So I think last year we did over 3,000 respite nights, which is a lot.
Very cool.
But it's helpful for families because both the individual and the families need a break from each other.
So you do mostly live in, but also a bit of respite?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of services do you provide then for the people living in?
Well, people need help with their personal care. They need help with their medication, preparing meals. Most individuals would have their own rooms, their own apartments. So they would cook, so they would be helped with their cooking and their cleaning, and people would rent places from us. So advocacy and tenancy agreements were also an approved housing body. So we help with everything that a person might need, and to get also then to meet friends out in the community, to go to their medical appointments, dental appointments, whatever the case may be. That's what we're there to do, to help them at whatever they need.
And I see that you provide services on 3 fronts: residential, community,
respite.
And respite.
Yes.
Very busy.
It is a very, very busy service, and we do get referrals, so you have to come in via the HSE. So if there was somebody who had thought about, well, I can't look after Marianne or Johnny or whatever anymore, then they would go to their disability officer and they would speak to them. So that can be found on the website under services. And then there would be a conversation between them, their disability officer, with the HSE and our good selves, and we would make sure that we have everything that Johnny might need. And then Johnny has to be happy to be with us too. It's a two-way street. You have to gel together. So.
And you said they stay there for until they're 65.
No, they stay there. They stay with us till they pass away.
Does everybody stay?
Most people, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know of anybody who's moved on. Unless somebody moves out or the family can arrange for them to be back because they've made arrangements in the house or they've extended the house or that type of thing. But no, they're part of the family.
Wow.
That's it.
That's brilliant.
It is, yeah.
There must be great bonds made.
Huge. And unfortunately, when we lose somebody, it's very difficult on both the other people that we support in that particular location, but with the staff, because the staff have cared for those individuals since day one, since they've come in, and you get to know them and their character, and there's a huge loss. It can be tough, but everybody is there to support each other, and people step in, and there's always a place for somebody to go and have a chat and take five. And
you must have good governance for all this.
Oh, we have a mountain of governance. We have our board of trustees. They make sure that we do everything that we need to do. We're also governed by the charity regulator. We are part of the Charities Institute. And then we have all our policies and procedures that we must follow. And obviously we have HICWA. So we are governed by HICWA.
And do you get visits from them?
Oh, we have unannounced. We have a lot of visits, but we also have what they're called unannounced visits. So they'll just turn up on the doorstep.
I get you,
and they will need to see X, Y, and Z procedures, policies. And they just don't only look at the procedures and the policies, they actually talk to the staff, but they actually talk to the people we support to make sure that they're happy, that they have what they need. And let's say somebody didn't have what they needed on that particular morning, then they would feed that back to us and we would make sure that that was fixed. But it's rare. We have received quite a few unannounced recently, and we have passed with flying colours. So I'm very pleased to say that.
You must see some difference between day one and day, say, 101.
Yeah, well, people change. They have to adapt. And unfortunately, with people with some of their illnesses, the illnesses progress as well. So, and they could develop other issues due to whatever disability that they had, and that has to be dealt with. But we have a full clinical team who look after those individuals, and then that's cascaded down, and everybody has a care plan, and all staff are made sure that Johnny has moved from this level to that level, and that these plans have been put in place now to ensure that he has everything that he needs going forward.
And I presume you work a lot with families.
Yeah, well, the staff, we have a quality team and the operations team, and the family would be in and out of the services seeing Marianne or Johnny or whomever, and then they'd be in to come out for visits, or we would make sure that Johnny or Marianne is brought out in the cars to go home or to meet up with family members and friends.
I get you, yeah. They must have a great time there.
They do. We have, we did, do you remember Jerusalem? That song? Yeah. Well, all of our locations put together a dance, and we have a place in Rathfreda in County Limerick and Newcastle West, and there is a beautiful driveway that leads you into those particular grounds. That's a residential location, and they had done the dance all the way up the driveway, and all of the people we support were out joining in, doing the dance. Brilliant. And everything else. So yeah,
that's fabulous. Tell us a bit about We Act. What's that all about?
We Act. That's to do with the wheel. They put together stuff with the Irish Wheelchair Association. It's to make sure that everybody has what they need to have to get about. So you might have cars on the footpath. So you can't get by a person in a wheelchair or even a person with a pram. You can't get by. It is against the law to put your car up on a footpath, but it impedes the way of a person who has a disability, whether it's in a wheelchair or they have a cane or they have difficulty in walking. Yeah. It's to make sure that they have everything that they need. So we act to fix that.
Brilliant. Must cost a lot of money to do all that.
Yes, well, we're funded in the main by the HSE.
Yeah. But like everyone else.
Like everyone else.
Getting a little bit of it.
Well, we hope so. But we still don't have sufficient. So we try and get corporates and companies to come along and help us. So if there's anybody out there who is, say, let's just say, for example, a qualified electrician or a gardener or a plumber, they could use their services and come in and volunteer and help us with some bits and bobs, or if there were people who wanted to come in and do work. We do need painting and gardening and all of that sort of stuff. Or somebody'd like to give us new windows, floors, carpets, chairs, everything. We wouldn't say no. So they just have to get in contact with me.
And do you get people to do that?
We do have companies that contact us and say we have a group of people. All companies have a piece in their accounts that says CSR, so it's corporate social responsibility. So they have a responsibility to help and volunteer within their communities. So we would get calls from companies saying, look, we've got 10 people here on the 10th of April. Is there something that they can come and do within your organisation and within your locations?
So you have a load of volunteers, I heard.
Yeah, we have volunteers who contact us to say, can they come in and do some work within our organisation? So the likes of the Googles, and we have one company, TTM, in Limerick. They're going to go in April, and the fence on that long driveway needs to be painted. Okay. So the team are going to do that, and I'm looking for people in Cork. I'm looking for people all around the country to get in contact and say, look, we can help. Even if they can donate paper, you'd be surprised at what people think that you do need versus what they think you need. Yeah. So it's all, as I have a saying, all donations greatly received. So we never turn down anything, as we have, say, great budding artists in our locations. They're fabulous. Yeah. So it's the paper, the paints, everything for arts and crafts, all that sort of stuff.
And
they're all very welcome.
Living in one of the centres.
Yeah, we have quite a few of them around the country, and they're outstanding. And then they join in the Itilda, which is like a Christmas card and an Easter card competition that's run by Trinity College. And our guys have won on occasion or got special commendations. Some of the work that they've done is just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Have you got any events coming up or anything like that?
Well, this coming Saturday on the 22nd, there's a Health DAC recruitment fair in the RDS between 10 and 4, and we will have a stand there. So come along, find out about what we do, the jobs that we have available. In July, we have Rathfreda in Limerick are holding their big fete. It's a massive fete. They've been doing that for years now at this stage. And then there's another fete being held on the 13th of July in Ardeen and Shillelagh, County Wicklow. Right. But all of the other ones are being organised as we go along. Our next one for the people that we support, we have a National Collaboration Day. And it's a sort of like a connections day for the people that we support. They come along, they present to us. Okay. So last year we had the Galway team. They had done pottery and art. We had a lady from Cork telling us all about the difficulty she had in trying to get car insurance, because if you're disabled, they just won't necessarily give it to you. Crazy, which is bananas at this stage of life. So that lady, and then another lady from the car wanted to just say what her life had been like and how different it had been since she moved in with us. So that's where we have our Connections Day on the 22nd of May. And then last year we started the Red Feather Awards. So the Red Feather is part of the Cheshire emblem. So this is where we recognise our staff. So the awards will open up again. So staff submit applications on behalf of other staff. So they'll all start now in the middle of May, and then we'll hold those in September.
Very good. Do you fundraise?
We do where we can.
Coming up?
Not at the moment, because we need funding to put something out there. And unfortunately, very few people, they like to receive something, as part of getting out there to walk or that type of thing, and we need to have funding for that. That's not part of our funding from the HSE. But there is a run on in the Phoenix Park. It's the Great Run, and we've been nominated as the chosen charity. So anybody who's going to run in that, even if they donated a tenner, a fiver, as I say, all donations greatly received, that will come to us directly. And
you also do a pre-budget submission.
We do. That's my job. That's my job.
Is it? Yeah. Yes. Anybody who does pre-budget submissions, I always ask them, do they think it's successful?
Some of it can be. It depends on what it is you're asking for. So you put in your submission this year for 2026, obviously for the budget. So at the moment, the main things are for us is we're looking for multi-annual funding. So our funding isn't always guaranteed for the I suppose our expenses increase, so you're not always necessarily guaranteed that. So we're looking to have multi-annual funding across Section 39 charities. We would be looking to talk about our expansion. We'd like to expand the work and the counties that we're in. Obviously, there's the whole issue of the pay parity going on at the moment, and a couple of other things that we will put in to the government, just like all of the other Section 39s and all of the other organisations will put in before the end of May, beginning of June.
And it's good that you feel it's successful. There's a point to it.
There is a point to it, because you get to speak to the TDs and the senators and explain to them. And whilst a lot, even their counterparts, a lot of them will understand, oh, there's the disabilities sector, there's all of this stuff going on. They're not necessarily aware of all of the expenses that might be incurred, or the obstacles that we have, or that you're asked to take somebody last minute. Yeah. But this, if you weren't asked to take somebody last minute, you could budget better across for the next 5 years, that type of thing. So that's where the multi-annual funding would come in.
We're in a similar position ourselves.
Oh, right, okay.
I think they seem to look at us, HSE is giving you money, go and enjoy it. Well, it doesn't work, because there's other factors now with prices have gone up, cost of living's gone up.
Yeah, and there's the whole piece out there that you have individuals who are in nursing homes who shouldn't be in nursing homes. They're of the young age of 18 to maybe 30, 35, although 60 is still a young age in today's life. But if it was organised better, if the funding was there, if the more thought process went into it, you know that those individuals need to move out, so looking at where they could go. You also know that there you have people who are coming up who are going to be 18.
Yeah. Coming
out of family homes, etc., that need to progress. They want to move on. They want to have their own independent living as well. This should all be thought about a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So that's what we look at.
Do you have a waiting list?
We do in some of our locations, because we could have a place
big enough.
You see, there are lots of other organisations, and it depends on the type of disability that you have. A lot of ours would be very complex.
Yeah.
So we need to ensure that we have the right clinical team to look after a particular person. So somebody could have a tracheotomy or trachea, or they could be peg fed, that type of thing. So we need to make sure that we have everything in place for that individual. And again, as I said before, the individual has to be comfortable being with us and liking where he or she will go to live. I mean, if you're living in Dublin all your life, but the only place we might have available is Donegal, you might not want to move away from your friends, which is perfectly understandable.
Yeah. We're right at the end of our time. Anything else you'd like to put out there before we stop?
Just that we would be very interested to hear from any organisations, any companies, any corporates that could possibly donate to us, run fundraisers, choose us as their charity of the year, where they would do fundraising on our behalf, which allows us to do other works for speech and language, our vehicles, all of that. Our vehicles need to be replaced. And also then, as I said, just the health tech fair is on Saturday in the RDS, 10 to 4. It's free. Okay. Just come along and see and have a look at the website, www.cheshire.ie, and see what jobs we have available at the moment.
Dave, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thanks
a lot.